Finally, the one that got it right. Now, before I start this review, I just want to bring up something very briefly. I do read the very few comments that are on my videos, and there was a comment that was left on my Phantom Menace review which was a very good question, and I thought I would answer it properly now, seeing that it seems like the right time. The question basically asked, in my Star Wars series of reviews, will I be mentioning any of this Clone Wars stuff? And I simply answered no, due to the fact that 1, I haven't seen the film, and 2, I haven't seen the TV series. However, I did also answer that I would briefly mention these. The Star Wars Clone Wars micro-series that came out back in 2005 from the creators of Samurai Jack and Dexter's Laboratory. Now these were all shown on Cartoon Network in each of their chapters, not as one long thing, just all of their chapters were shown one by one. And this is probably my favourite expanded universe thing from anything ever. It's really underrated, and I do wish you guys would give it a look. It captures the same animation style and tone of Samurai Jack. Really dark, really in your face, but the best thing about this is that there is hardly any dialogue in it. It's just all told visually, which is what animation and just any medium of visual entertainment is supposed to do. Tell a story visually, and these two micro-series do it brilliantly. And just so you know, I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. I highly recommend that you check these out if you're a fan of Star Wars. If you've never heard of them, you're really missing out. They're dark, they get to the point, and they fill in a lot of gaps between Episode 2 and Episode 3. Now on to the actual review. Now, Star Wars Episode 3 is probably my favourite in the prequel series, mainly because it ditches everything that the last two had wrong about them, and it actually feels like a Star Wars film. You have this sense of adventure. It's really darker than the other two as well. I think it's the first Star Wars film to get a 12 rating, although for you Americans that's PG-13. Right from the start you can tell that a lot has improved since Attack of the Clones. The CGI is still really good. I mean, Attack of the Clones and the Phantom Menace do look like PlayStation 2 cutscenes, but the CGI in the opening battle over Coruscant in this film, it looks a lot crisper, and it still holds up 10 years later. The dialogue, however, is still questionably bad. It's not wholly improved since Attack of the Clones, but it's better than Attack of the Clones, I can tell you that for sure. But that opening scene, from the battle in space to the lightsaber fight between Count Dooku, which is really well done, just everything is fantastic about that. It sets the mode, it sets the tone, just credit to George Lucas for finally getting that right. Now, I know I'm already contradicting myself, but even though I said that the CGI at the start was quite good, they immediately let it down as we get even more people walking and talking in front of green screen sets. Now in Attack of the Clones, everyone will agree that we got a stroppy, pissed off Anakin, which is not what we wanted. But in this film, even though Hayden Christensen's acting still hasn't improved, we get a darker, more tormented version of Anakin, which is the version that we've wanted to see all this time. I also find it really clever how Palpatine slowly convinces Anakin to turn, and how he slowly corrupts and twists his ideas and thoughts. This film is written a lot better than the last two. You can tell that this is the story that Lucas has wanted to show to the audience since the very start. And you can tell it's just in every single way. Not just the story and the CGI that's good in this film. There's a lot more expansion in this film than we have seen in the other two. We get to see the Wookiee home planet of Kashyyyk, I think that's how you pronounce it. And we also get to see that lava planet towards the end, and loads of little other planets that do actually play a big part. And we also get probably the coolest character in the prequel series since Darth Maul, General Grievous. He's cool, and when he gets out all 4 of his arms, like the first time I saw that, I was blown away. Yet again, the dialogue that Obi-Wan says in that scene is still really cringy, but first time you see General Grievous pop out his 4 arms is just, it's fantastic. Now, it's time to talk about Ian McDiarmid as Palpatine, and he does a good job. He's done a good job in the last 2, even though the dialogue and the wooden performances didn't really help. But in this one we see his turn into Darth Sidious, him revealing himself, and it is good for the most part. You can hear the slight voice changes over the course of the film, but there's one thing that has always annoyed me every time I've watched it, and it's the fight between Darth Sidious, or Palpatine at that time, and Mace Windu. Mace Windu is doing it properly. I mean, Samuel L. Jackson is, but Ian McDiarmid for some reason is pulling all these weird faces and making all these weird sounds. You can't take him seriously. Honest to God, it's like, it's like it's not like, actually, he is overacting, and it just doesn't work, and it ruins the moment. It's one of the most annoyingly funny things in a Star Wars film. Now, I've got to give credit to Lucas again for when Order 66 happens in the film. It is actually really emotional and really powerful. It's one moment that I keep rewatching over and over again just because of how hard it hits. I mean, Anakin does kill some children, you don't just see it, and it is a bit cutesy the way the little kid comes out and goes, "Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do?" It is a little bit cutesy, but it still hits. I'm getting choked up just thinking about it. Jesus. We also see a Star Wars set. A set from The New Hope, which is quite a relief seeing that we've all just got green screen bullshit for the last 2 movies. But yeah, it's just that one slot in the film. Now, one thing, and probably the most important part of the film, is the end fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan. When I first saw it, I thought it was really good and really well handled. But watching it again, it is easily noticeable that it is highly choreographed to the point where it just looks like a dance. And also, it goes on for ages. Like, I mean, they could have stopped about 5 minutes in, but it just goes on for more and more. But I have to admit, the end bit where Obi-Wan is on the hill and Anakin is just burning on the floor is actually really well done. The emotion conveyed by Ewan McGregor is perfect. You feel like they've, disrupted this bond that they've had. It's just so well done, actually, for a Star Wars film. Even though Episode 3 is nowhere near a perfect film, it's definitely miles better than 1 and 2. It fills in all the gaps that you need to and links everything between 3 and 4 perfectly together. It's my favourite in the prequel series, and it's probably the best that Lucas has been in those series. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It's better than I remember, and it holds up compared to the last 2. So yeah, that was my review for Episode 3, The Revenge of the Sith. I'll have my review for Episode 4, A New Hope, coming out next month. I really do hope you guys check out the Clone Wars thing. Actually, it's not called The Clone Wars, it's just called Star Wars Clone Wars. There's no "the" in it. I really hope you check out that animated micro-series. It is really well done. It needs more attention. It's so underrated. But yeah, apart from that, there's not much else I can say. See you later, guys. Bye.